Hi, this is for group A, the first group. I'm going to use 50 cards. First procedure is to take one card aside. Represents 1. Separate the rest 49 cards randomly and put these two groups on both hands separately and get one card from the right hand groups and put it on the last space between fingers. Use right hand to calculate the remainder of the 4 from the left hand group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have remainder of 0, so we take 4 cards back. Put those 4 cards to the second space between left hand fingers and use left hand to calculate the groups on the right hands and get the remainder of 4. 2, 3, 4. The remainder is 0, so we take 4 cards back and put the space here, and the remainder of the first round should be the number of 5 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's correct, and we put those remainder aside. We are not going to use it. So we finished the first change of the first yao, and continue the process. Separate the rest cards into 2 groups and put on both hands separately, and put 1 card from the right group to the left hands, the space here, and get the remainder of the left group. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. The remainder is 2, and we put the space here and calculate the remainder of multiple of 4 of the right hands group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. We have remainder of 1, and put the space here. And let's check the remainder of the second round. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be the multiple of 4, and we get 4, so it's correct. And put the remainder aside. We're not going to use it. And start the third change. And separate the cards into 2 groups randomly, and take 1 card from the right group and put a space here, and calculate the remainder of multiple 4 of the left group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we put the remainder to the space following the first one, and also get the remainder of multiple 4 from the right group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. And the remainder is 0, so we take 4 cards back. here. And for the third round, for a third change, the remainder should be in the multiple of 4 too. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct. When we put this aside, we're not going to use it. And we use the remaining cards to determine the type of the gua. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So there are 28 cards. Is 7 group of number 8, number 4. So let's check the type of the gua. 28, it is the unchangeable yang. So it should be, so we put the mark here as a one stroke, like this. One stroke. And we are calculating the second yao and gather all 450 cards and put one card aside. Use the rest 49 cards and separate them into 2 groups. Okay. We have remainder of the multiple 4 as 3. The remainder of the multiple 4 is 1. For the first change, the remainder should be, the sum of the remainder should be 5 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is correct. So we finish the first change of the second yao, proceeding to the second change. We have remainder of 3, and we'll put to the following the last second space here, and get remainder of multiple 4 from the right group. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 0 as the remainder, so we take 4 cards back. 2, 3, 4, and as tradition, we put it here. So right now we check the sum of the remainder should be the multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is correct. So we finished the second change of the second yao. Continue the rest cards to the third change of the second yao. Separate into 2 groups and put 1 card to the space between the index finger and what's that? Anyway, okay, here and get a remainder of multiple 4 from the left group. Remainder is 0, so we take 4 cards back. For here. and get the remainder of the multiple of 4 from the right group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So we have the remainder of 3 put here, and we get all of them and check the sum. It should be the multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's correct. So we put the remainder of the third change aside and calculate the rest cards to determine the type of the second yao. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, we get another unchangeable Yang. So we get another one screw, this one. Okay, and for the third Yao, we get all 50 cards together again. As tradition, we take one card aside, represents one of the universe, and separate the rest card into 2 groups and put them in both hands, and take one card from the right group and put it to the space between the last 2 fingers. Calculate the remainder of the multiple 4 from the left group. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have the remainder of 1, and we'll put the card to the space here, and calculating the remainder of the multiple 4 from the right group. So we have the remainder of 3 cards. I will put in the card to a space here as the tradition, and we check the number of the remainders should be the sum as 5 or 9 for the first change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. So we finish the first change and proceed to the second change of the third Yang. Separate into 2 groups and get 1 card from the right hand group and calculate the remainder of multiple 4 from the left group. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We have the remainder as 2. I'll put these 2 cards here on the left hand to maybe for the memory, because from the description of the book it said we should do this. And we calculate the remainder of multiple 4 from the right hand group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1. We have the remainder of 1, and we put this card in the space here. So we check the sum of those remainders. It should be the multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's correct. So we put those remainder aside. We are not going to use it. And we use the rest card to get the third change of the third Yao. Separate those cards into 2 groups randomly and get 1 card from the right hand group and put it to the space between the last 2 fingers. And then we calculate the remainder of the multiple 4 from the left hand group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So we had the remainder as 3, and we put those 3 cards in a space here. Okay, this is the first remainder and second remainder, and get the remainder from the right hands group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have remainder of 0, so we get 4 cards back. 1, 2, 3, 4. We put those 4 cards to the space here. Okay, and it is the tradition to put the cards here, so we put it. Maybe it seems unnecessary, but we still do it anyway. And we check the sum of the remainders. It should be the multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's correct. So we put those remainders aside. And so we finish the third change, and we count the number of the rest cards to determine the type of the Yao, the third Yao. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So we have 32 cards. It's 8 groups of the number 4. And we check the type. It should be 32 is unchangeable in Yao. So we put the 2 stroke like this here. This one is our third Yao. It's 1 Yao, the first Yao, second Yao, the third one. Alright, we are proceeding to the 4th Yao. Get all 50 cards together again and put 1 card aside. This 1 card represents the universe as 1. And separate the rest 49 cards into 2 groups on both hands, and get 1 card from the right hand's deck and put it to the space between the last 2 fingers, and calculate. And use right hand to calculate the left hand's group to get the remainder of the multiple 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We have the remainder of 3. And we put these 3 cards to a space on the top of the last space. and use left hand to calculate the remainder of multiple 4 from the right hand group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We have remainder as 1, and we put this card to the space on the top of the last space. We just follow the tradition, and we check the sum of the remainder of the first change. It should be the number of 5 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. And we put those remainder of the first change aside. We are not going to use it. And we use the rest cards to go the second change. Separate into 2 groups and get 1 card from the first group, from the right hand group, and put it in the last space between the last two fingers, and calculate the multiple of 4 to get the remainder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have remainder of 0, so we get 4 cards back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and put these 4 cards to the space on the top of the last space here, like this, and use left hand to help to calculate the remainder of the multiple 4 from the right hand group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3. We have remainder of 3, and we'll put those cards here. Okay, and right now we calculate the sum of those remainders to check and to see if it is the multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct. So we put the remainder of the second change aside. We are not going to use it, and we going to the third change of the 4th yao, and separate those cards into 2 groups and put it on both hands, and get the 1 card from the right hand group and put this card on the space between the last 2 fingers, like this. And we use right hand to calculate the left hand group to get the remainder of the multiple 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 0 remainder, so we take 4 cards back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we use left hands to calculate. Maybe use these 3 fingers to calculate the remainder of multiple 4 from the right hand group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We have remainder 3. Okay, we'll put these 3 cards to the space here, and we check the sum of those remainders to see if it is the multiple of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct. So we put the remainder of the third change aside, and we finish the 3 changes, and right now we count the rest cards to see how many cards to determine the type of the yao for the fourth yao. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we have 7 groups of number 4. So let's check the book. It should be the unchangeable yang yao. So we make a symbol here as one stroke. And you look like this.